Buddy, Elisa here with another Vera Bradley bag of the day and Rosie. Sorry here for my dog chewing noises as usual. It's my usual disclaimer. um, I should just, if I were more skilled in video editing, I would have a little banner that runs on the top of the screen when I start my video saying, sorry for the dog chewing noises. um, so today I wanted to, I just wanted to talk about a style that I wonder if they're going to change it. I mean, if people have seen my recent video on the recycled cotton Vera Tote, I know that they've changed some of the finishing details. So I'm not sure if the same thing is going to happen with a bunch of the factory outlet styles, but I got for the first time the other day, well, it was a while ago now, a factory outlet style um, Vera Tote. I had been hesitant to, well, actually, to be really honest, I had never even considered it because I knew it didn't have a zip top closure. It just had the toggle closure, and I was feeling like, well, that's not very secure. But then I realized with the whole COVID thing and everybody staying 6 feet away from me, which I love. As I always say, when this whole thing is over, I still want people to stay 6 feet away from me. I was realizing I was keeping the top of my Vera totes unzipped most of the time anyway. And so I thought, well, maybe I should just give it a try because especially because I was feeling very obsessed with the Penelope's garden print and I couldn't get enough of the hedgehogs. And so I found myself one with in that pattern, and I thought I would give it a try. And I gotta say, I actually really enjoy this style. So, I have some misgivings about some of the changes in the styling on the signature line Vera Tote with the recycled cotton, and it's making that product not seem worth the money, the same amount of money. So I could see going for something like this if they change the styling details and I'm not so crazy about it. It's still less money to spend if I like a pattern. So I just thought I would load it up and show it, and maybe just show it in comparison to the signature tote in case people are interested. So the first thing I noticed about this, I've got the recycled cotton one here just because I'm wondering if this is the new normal. But I also have I just pulled this out of my closet because it was one of the easier ones to grab. This is my custom Big Cat's tote, but it has all the same styling features of a regular Vera. And I wanted to pick a Vera that didn't have a side trim because this doesn't have a side trim. So just, I don't know if you'll be able to see it when I hold it up, but they have the factory outlet one is just slightly taller, like a half an inch or an inch taller. Let's see if I get the tops. If I get the tops aligned, you can see the bottoms. Here, hold on. That's sort of in the way. Okay, so if I get the tops aligned there, you can see the bottom is slightly lower on the Penelope's Garden one. So it's real slight. Like I said, maybe an inch, half an inch, but this was just a little bit taller. And the other thing is that it doesn't have that kind of blousey, unquilted lining. There are other differences, but that's one that really jumps out at you. People are aware this has that non-quilted fabric that's not really tacked down. And this, I'm sure it's it's a result of the way that this fabric is constructed. So they're just, it's quilted and there's batting in there, and then this is the backing fabric, this kind of nylon-y fabric. And I'm sure, that if you were to see this bag deconstructed, you know, you would see sort of something similar. You would see this fabric and then the batting and then maybe just the back of the batting. There wouldn't be any piece of fabric over it because this is going to have that loose lining. But that batting is also quilted. It's stitched down to the exterior fabric. And so that's sort of what's going on here, except that the batting has this nylon backing or another piece of fabric put on top of it. And so that creates the lining. There is no extra piece of fabric sort of loosey-goosey floating around. And so at first I think I was a little resistant to that for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe just because this doesn't have a pattern. But, you know, it's not bothering me. And this bag seems to have a bit of a stiffness or a structure that I kind of like. And I'm not sure if that's just because this is nylon, or I'm not sure exactly what's causing that. Some difference in construction or something. And it's helpful when you're packing up the bag, when you put the bag down. It keeps its shape nicely. And then it's got the 6 slip pockets, like in the signature Vera. And they're kind of shaped the same way, where the center one on each, there are 3 on each wall of the bag, and the center one on each wall is a little bit wider than the 2 surrounding ones. So I can still use this to pack up, and I can pack it up. I can take my stuff out of one and put it in the other. But I can still get my cell phone in the pocket that I put my cell phone in, and I get my iPad in the pocket that I like to put my iPad in. All that stuff seems to still work. There is a base in here. It's stiff but flexible. And I did wash this. I have washed this bag. The base does not come out. You know, I was looking for that because sometimes I was feeling like this style kind of is reminiscent a little bit of the previous, an earlier version of the Vera Tote that had pockets on both sides, and I will get to that. Like my Havana Rose tote has pockets, exterior pockets configured like this. So the Vera Tote. And with that one, the base is removable. So the first thing I did when I got this was sort of look around, you know, feel in there and see if I could take the base out, and you can't. But I did wash this. This went through the wash fine. So I washed it like I do all my other Vera. By itself, gentle in the washer, gentle cycle, cold water. This wasn't dirty or anything, so I didn't do, you know, like a heavy, like the heaviest, dirtiest setting. And max extraction, you know, to get the water out of it. And then I just air dried it. I didn't even put anything in here to help it air dry. I just hung it by its handles on a hanger. You know, so super easy to do. So it's got, the closure is this toggle loop, and this toggle is like faux tortoiseshell toggle, which I'll probably never use. I'll never work that closure. And the straps seem to be about the same length, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, about the same length. I will put it on. I'll pack it up and put it on. So this is the latest, you know, the recycled. Can just put them on just to see how I haven't done this yet, so I don't even know how they compare. This looks a little bit, well, you see the straps are sort of attached a little bit differently at the top. See, it does look like this one hangs, the top of the bag is a little bit lower, you know, compared to this one. But I feel like, you know, in general, comparable. Big honkin' bag, you know, comparable size, comparable look. What I do notice about these straps, and I have used this bag, you know, loaded up and gone outside with it, really used it. The straps feel sort of cushier than the signature store straps, either version of them. You know, the one with the piping or the one without the piping. This feels cushier, thicker, which I like. It has good feels good in the hand. And the straps stayed on my shoulder fine. So I'm noticing that the straps First of all, they don't wrap all the way around to the bottom. There's no seam on the bottom like you get on the Vera. And so the straps don't wrap around to that center seam. They're right at the bottom. They end at the bottom there. They also seem to be, now they're about the same width apart as they have always been. But there's the stitching that attaches them to the bag ends lower down on the body of the bag than on the signature. So you can see the strap is way up there. Here it's way down. I don't know if that's going to change, you know, if they're moving towards, you know, these recycled fabrics. Maybe they're going to do that in the factory outlet store too. I would imagine ultimately they're going to, and so I don't know if that will change, but I did notice that the straps really attach, the stitching that attaches them stops much lower on the side of the bag. So like that, like I was saying with the Havana Rose Vera Tote, and Vera Totes from that era, just a few years ago, the Havana Rose, I got that bag, it must have been like 2017 or start of 2018. So a few years back now, the Vera Tote had a slip pocket on one side and a zipper pocket on the other side, and that's what you see here. And I kind of like that. I like that. It makes the bag look less like it has an obvious front and a back, even though there still is a label here. It feels kind of rubberish, pleatherish, and that's on the slip pocket side. Same side with the toggle. Makes sense, you know. So this is what they're treating as the front of the bag, but when you have a pocket on the back, it almost makes it look like it could go either way. And I like that flexibility. You know, so if you wanted to put something in a slip pocket, but you don't want that on the outside, maybe you don't want it to be so easily accessible, you can flip the bag around and that part can be against your body. Anyway, so, yeah, I was just, was pleased with this, really pleased with it. I mean, at first I was feeling like, okay, it feels a little chintzier, but I got over that because I do like the way that the bag stands up by itself. Feels like it has some structure. There's also this seam, ribbon seam kind of. It's the same fabric as the lining of the bag on the top. And that's a nice finishing element. That's not in the, it's different, you know, the top of the bag is different in the signature version. It's just because it's got a recessed zipper and so it's got this, you know, just this piece of fabric here. And this has that hidden slip pocket up top. Everyone's aware of, you know, that, that, and this doesn't have that. This doesn't have that, but again, you know, it's got those two different pockets, so. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw some stuff in here, and you can see that stuff still fits. I don't have my cell phone with me, but I have, it's over on my nightstand, but I have the crossbody, the Carson cell phone crossbody that I keep it in here. And so I'm going to put that in here as if, you know, like it's filled up. And it fits. You know, it slips in that pocket. So same thing with my hand sanitizer. In there, fits. I'm going to get everything in here. I've been carrying around disinfectant wipes and Band-Aids in these pouches, and I've been keeping them in one of the middle pockets. Fits in there. They both slip right in there. In the other middle pocket, I have been keeping this packable tote from the factory outlet store. The other middle, the opposite middle pocket fits it right in there. And I have what I use to keep my chargers, like cords and things like that I take with me, and masks and gloves and stuff. This is a wristlet for anyone who's interested. I showed this before how I use it, but I like that the inner construction on this creates 3 individual sections, and so I can put gloves and masks and other masks in there separated. So I like that. that one's working really well for me. I mean, I have another wristlet somewhere. I think it might be an Itsy Ditsy. And I never use it, you know, but I've found a use for it. So even, you know, like I'm fully vaccinated now, but in certain situations I still wear masks. I do think it's necessary in certain situations to still wear masks. And so, but eventually, you know, obviously we won't be. So I think now that I'm thinking about this way, to use it as storage with 3 divisions in there, I can find other things to use for this, but using it in that capacity, not as a wristlet, sort of as an organizer within a bag. My turn lock, I usually just stick that right up front. Yeah, like that. And this is a paperback book cover in Tavern on the Green, but I have just a notepad in there just to keep it a little protected from getting beat up by the other stuff in the bag, and I just tend to stack that up in there. This is my GPS in a mini cosmetic pouch. This is Dragon Fruit Floral. So I'm just kind of stacking everything in there, smushing everything in there. And pens. I have pens in this sort of on a roll type case that came with a set of pouches. That's Foxwood. And then my typical bunch of photos in various ID cases that I always have. I just shove that up top. And this on top of it, I have lip balm and tissues and things in there. I had been keeping this in one of the mini New Hope Girls pouches, and I do like that for this. But since it's getting warmer out and things have a tendency to melt, and I have lip balm in here in a stick, I thought, well, what if something happens and it melts because the weather is warmer? And that New Hope Girls pouch isn't lined. This is lined in plastic. So I switched back to the mini dome for the summer. This is my Easy Pass. I don't really need it in there right now. And also this reusable shopping bag that I stick in. Fits in one of the smaller pockets and store, discount cards and things. So, all fits in there really well. Really, really pleased with that. And, yes, it's a very tall bag. And this, especially for summer, but also for winter if I wanted to take a scarf and throw it in there. But in the summer, if I'm going, I tend to like to take like a lightweight sweatshirt or something with me. Just throw it on top of my bag in case I go in somewhere that's air conditioned and I get chilly. And so that's what all this space on top is good for. To me, that's not wasted space. I want that option, have that space there. So there it is, filled up. It looks just the same. Fills up nice. Like I said, it's comfortable. The straps really do feel like cushier. They feel softer. I noticed that right away, especially in my hand here. Not so much here, although you do feel it here. But here, my hand, I was like, ooh, this is squishy. So, really pleased with this. I'm pleased to get some hedgehogs, I'm just obsessed with the hedgehogs for a pattern that initially I was like, ugh, I don't care about that pattern. Excuse me. And I really, just something happened with me and the hedgehogs. And every time I look at this, I feel like, oh, it reminds me of a mojito or like a salad. It's just crisp and fresh and cool, like refreshing. It's refreshing. It's like a good drink on a hot summer day when you're on vacation. I remember when you used to go on vacation. Hopefully soon. So anyway, that's it. And again, like the pockets are great. They go down to the bottom. Zipper works fine on the outside pocket. It's that soft plastic zipper. Ribbon pull tie. Very pleased with it. Now, to me, it doesn't really have a front and a back. I don't care about that label. That's one of the things that I really do like about the changes in the detail work on the recycled Vera. Love that switch of this label down here. That's probably my favorite thing about this whole endeavor. I do like the pattern. I mean, that's why I went for it with this. I probably won't be buying as much. I gotta really like the pattern because the lack of finishing details really takes it down, makes it look more downscale, if that's a word. People know what I'm saying. Anyway, so that was it. Just quick look at the factory style Vera Tote as it now exists, and I don't know if they're going to change it. Now that I like it, they'll probably change it. Because that seems to be what happens to me. If I like something, they either change it or they discontinue it. I am just the curse of death. Anyway, I hope people found that helpful, and I feel like I should now run to the factory outlet store and buy whatever other patterns in this I like before it, gets changed. If they're going to change it. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and hopefully see you next time on Vera Bradley Bag of the Day.